We are now a week into Sparking Zero being released to the public, and I absolutely love it. This is a quick first week thoughts on the game video. I'm going to be making a much longer review on this game in the future like I did with my Raging Blast and BT3 videos. I am happy to say that the combat feels way closer to BT3 than I ever thought it was going to be when the game was first announced. It's not identical, but it is mostly the same. Having the classic control option is great for vets of BT3. The only problem with having two separate control setups is when it comes to online. As of now, there seems to be this glitch where your control scheme gets swapped with the other one, but it doesn't even work like that completely. It will half swap your control setup so you can still use your utility moves with the same inputs even though it says they're completely different on the screen there, but your supers, you just can't do them. I can do the first one since it's relying on the triangle button, but I can't press up triangle to do it, and I can't even press just the square to do the other one. It just doesn't work. Also, I don't think I can switch characters when this glitch happens. I can't, it just doesn't work. So I'm just kind of boned when this happens. Hopefully fix this real soon. Speaking of online, ranked matches are fun, but only if you pick a DP battle. I'd say don't bother with singles unless you're one of those players that always uses higher tiered characters. I like using silly boys like Yajirobe and other less silly ones but still not very strong ones like Birder. It has come to my attention that Yajirobe has become very popular in this game, and I just want to say I've been using him since BT3, so I beat Yells with a punch. In DP battle, even if your opponent picks a dumb strong team like Baby Vegeta and SSJ4 Gogeta, if you are the better player, you can still win with a weaker team. This primarily has to do with the fact that in DP battle, if the time runs out, the player with the most remaining characters will be determined the winner. So if I have 5 characters and they only have 2, they could knock out 3 of them and I could knock out only 1 of theirs and I would still be the winner. As of now, Dr. Wheelo seems to be the one terrorizing the upper ranks, but luckily for me I haven't run into any of those. Same thing with Whis, I believe. The worst things that I've had to deal with are people spamming ultimates at you and just spamming the auto counter button. When a character is knocked out, your next one will appear in the starting position while the other player will remain where they were. This gives the other player the perfect opportunity to charge to max power, since you'll most likely be way far away from them and you can't do anything in time to stop them. This will lead to them charging up into max power, dashing behind you, hitting you as many times as possible, and then trying to finish you off with an ultimate. This will either take out most of your health or just straight up kill you if your character is weak enough. It is pretty cheap, but it is what it is, I guess. I personally never like to use ultimates in general, so I just don't do that for the most part. I'm not the biggest fan of this casual room setup they were going for. I get the idea of what they were doing, but if they're going to make me wait around to fight next, they should also force me to actually watch the battle that's happening. As of now, I could just be looking at menus, not really knowing what's going on. Also, if I show up late and want to actually watch the battle, it starts me from the beginning of the battle instead of just putting me into the moment that is actually happening right now. So there really is no point in watching if you show up late or if you just forget to hit the watch battle button, which is the thing you need to press apparently. This setup makes a lot more sense for fighting with friends, but if you're not doing that, then it's kind of lame. You're just waiting around for no reason. I've only taken a very small glance at the capsule custom system, so I don't really have much to say about it. It doesn't seem as complex as BT3's was, but there are some interesting options like restricting transformations or character switches. Why would you want that on your character? Well, you really wouldn't, but it is useful for custom battle. This is the biggest W Dragon Ball fans have had for a very long time. The amount of flexibility that this mode offers is insane. You could, in theory, make a better story mode than the one that we have in-game already. I accidentally spent a few hours messing with it when I was originally just gonna look at it for like 10 minutes, and that was it. The one complaint I do have is the text options and how it's presented to you. There is a filter option, but you can't just search the thing you're looking for. You have to actually scroll down in this list. And when it comes to characters specifically, there's a lot of characters you can pick from here, and they're not listed in alphabetical order, so you're just gonna have to search for them. That's really lame. They should add a search type-in thing that you could type. If I want to look for Gohan, I should just be able to type in Gohan and find him, not scroll through this thing. The actual story mode, though, is a bit of a miss for me. Though there are a lot of battles that definitely needed to be in the last game, the story is presented in the same way that Budokai 3 did it, individual story modes for individual characters. And like I mentioned in my review of BT3, I just don't like that way of presenting the story mode because it feels very segmented. That being said, there is a roadmap that shows all the battles in chronological order. I think that's what's going on, so I don't know if there's like a way to play it that way. I don't know why they're presenting it this way. If we can't play it this way, it's kind of weird. Biggest L though in this mode is definitely Gohan's story, since it starts in the hyperbolic time chamber, which shaves away the two most important arcs that he's in. Like, yeah, he is very important to the Cell arc at the end, but during it, not really, and he has a way bigger role in the Saiyan arc and in the Frieza arc. Also, speaking of arcs, they finally started calling them arcs and not sagas anymore, which is insane. Though they did compromise by calling the character story modes sagas, which is interesting, I guess. Hey, when are we getting Dragon Ball arcs? I want Dragon Ball arcs. That'd be fun. I do love the branching paths that the story mode presents though. It's very easy to go back to the main path once you're done with them, so you don't have to do multiple full playthroughs just to get all of the endings or all the different variants. They're also just very cool. I accidentally did the one where you take out Jace instead of Burter, and he escapes to go to Captain Ginyu. A lot of cool options here, I love it. Though I will say that some of them are harder to get than others, since some require you to beat the opponent in under a certain amount of time, and there really is no display of what time that is. These often happen in missions where you'll automatically win if you survive for a certain amount of time, so you can fail to get the what if scenario, but then you have to wait and go through all the cutscenes that follow that mission. There's no quick retry option for this. Though there is a quick retry option if you press pause and then press retry, but you can't do that after you actually beat the mission. I haven't seen much of this, but the freaking encyclopedia with the commentaries back from BT3, but now Bulma and Videl are also there? They didn't need to do this. Nobody would have noticed if they didn't, but they still did, which just shows the amount of detail they put into this game. I know there's one weirdo who's complaining about it for some reason. I didn't even watch this video, I just know he's complaining. The tournament mode is back, but it's even better than before, since now you can just pick the option you want instead of relying on the weird in-game clock. They even brought back the symbols at the beginning of the tournament, which I liked. Many characters need to be unlocked, though it doesn't seem that difficult to actually unlock them. You can actually buy quite a few of them in the shop, but that's not the only way you can get them. You can also get them from just playing different story modes and whatnot. For example, Teen Goku is required by playing the tournament mode for the very first time. Calling him Teen Goku doesn't sound right. I'm still gonna call him Kid Goku. You can also get some of these by using the Dragon Balls. Like in the last game, there are 3 different dragons you can summon, but here you can actually collect the individual sets at the same time. The only real problem I have with this game so far is the lack of unlockable stages. The ones that we have aren't bad, but I would like a little more variety. Where's the Lookout? Where's Kame House? Where's Goku's non-canon home in Mount Paozu? Rewatch the Cell arc, his home isn't like this at all. What about Glacier? Where's Glacier? What about Glacier? You know that one dude who says he ain't getting the game is really upset about the lack of the boring ice stage. There are a few more minor things that I could talk about, like how I'm not the biggest fan of the character select screen, or how some costumes can't equip certain accessories, even though they really should be able to, or how we no longer have alt colors as a default for every character. But honestly, those are all minor things, and I'll get into way more depth once I do my full review. For now, that's all I'm going to be talking about. Okay, but really quickly, Bardock no longer has his wild sense, instead he has this explosive wave that takes 4 skill points to use, but instantly puts him into max power mode. Early Piccolo's paralyze ability is now pretty much useless since it takes so long to actually activate. Paralyzation in general seems to be a lot less useful since it goes away once you punch the enemy. Second form Cell can still chain his grab into his big bang attack. Piccolo's demon wave is no longer a beam, it is now a burst. The fight against Grade 8 Vegito is no more harder than the one that was in BT3, y'all are just tripping. Super 17 isn't in the game. Good. Fuck his billion bullet super. Yajirobe still has his Sensu Bean ability, but it's a lot easier to use here since skill points are gained a lot quicker than the blast points were in the last game. The blast thingy is now pretty much useless since it's so easy to vanish out of the way of. You actually switch bodies with your opponent when you use Ginyu's ultimate, not just switching with a random character from the Frieza arc. Rushing supers are a lot harder to hit since they now don't home in on the enemy. They actually let you pick the blue shirt for Goku as a costume. Kid Goku still has a mid combo set. Okay, I'm done.